Hi there. I'm here to do a VR to, I saw it on Mascha's channel, but to Rachele at Amethyst Ascensions video. So I've only seen Mascha's video. I think it's just kind of your deck, what you're crushing on right now. And the reason that it was done this way, instead of top decks, is to take pressure off. So we could just show the decks that we're loving in this moment of time and having fun with, and it's no pressure to be like the decks that you think are the best or anything like that. So I am loving the Fire Flower Tarot by Brandy Eve Allen. And this came out, I pre-ordered it. The creator is Brandy Eve Allen, also has another photography deck that I've had for years that I really love. So I pre-ordered this, and this is just flowers, but it's kind of done through fire. And I am just enjoying this so much because we're approaching spring and warm weather, and just flowers are everywhere. And so it just seemed like a perfect time of year to use this. And so this is a deck that I think is really unusual, but I'm having fun with it. And I'm just reading it kind of like Pip style, but just enjoying the beautiful flowers when I read it. And I'm pairing it with some different things, which is really fun. But today I'm only showing tarot decks because I think the tag was tarot decks only. And so maybe I'll do another video talking about oracles I'm loving right now. But for today, I'm only doing tarot that I love right now. And I just think this deck is really beautiful and really fun. And just a gorgeous deck that I am just kind of reading like a straight out tarot. And it's just a beautifully done deck. And it uses that type of photography where you kind of film it and then go back and film something, or take a picture or a photo of something else. And it's got, the whole thing has a black background. So I just think it's been fun with my dark decks. And it's just really beautiful. So this has been a really fun one. And one of my decks I'm crushing on at this moment in time. Fireflower Tarot. All right, another deck I'm really loving right now is the Tarot of the Huntress. And this is a deck about Artemis, and it's done by Kara Small. And it is really beautiful cardstock. And I love the switch. I just think that is a perfect magician, and boy, I love it. I think this card is really well done because it's very, very cohesive, and it is the creator of Tarot Persephone's Garden, but this one was kind of sheer perfection, I thought. I love the Tarot Persephone's Garden too, but I did think that the theme in this deck was so cohesive and really just beautiful. I love the Tin Air there. I have another deck that's an Italian deck that has that as the Fool. And you know, there's a lot of decks using this style of art nowadays, the historic art. But I think this one is a particularly well done deck. And I guess, you know, when I realize what I've chosen right now, I must enjoy this type of art. Well, who could not enjoy this, right? But this deck is very well done, and I did think it's a very good time to use an Artemis deck. And I think this is a beautiful one. So this is the Tarot of the Huntress. I think it's still available. All right, next deck is the Eliphas Levi deck by Marco Benedetti. And this is a gorgeous deck, and it's Eliphas' original deck. And it's a remake of Eliphas's deck. And I love this deck. And I'm just having so much fun with this one. I wanted this deck for so many years. And right now, I'm just reading with the tarot cards. There's also some extra cards in the deck, but I'm not confident that I can incorporate those in yet. And so I'm going through the book and I'm using the deck just as kind of like a Marseille style deck. But it's so fun and I just am enjoying it so much. And it's got writing all over it because it's just a copy of his deck. And there was like different parts to this deck. There was actually 2 decks plus some extra cards he was using. So here's more cards that were in the deck he used. And so that those are included. And then there's also these cards that were included. I think I skipped one there. So, but right now I don't have them in because I'm just reading it kind of more as a Marseille style deck. But this is something that I wanted it for so long. And finally there was a copy of it. And there's a little book that tells about the deck. And so it's very cool. And I'm just excited to have it. And I've just been playing with it a lot and just loving every moment of it. And I've been reading it, maybe not like he read, but more just like a Marseille style tarot. And I think the deck is beautiful. I love the backs. And it's just a little bit of a twist. And it's really fun. And I love the cardstock. And it's just a special one that I'm having a lot of fun with. So that is a very cool reproduction. And I'll kind of just show what it looks like out. And if you don't like Marseille style, old style historical decks, you might not love this one. But, you know, it does things that are different like this. And the numbering on the cards is very interesting. Because it doesn't just go 0 or 1 to 79 or 78 or... like some of them do. So it just does things a little differently. So it's a little hard to figure out. So I thought I'd just learn this part of it and then gradually start incorporating the other cards in. Anyway, very cool. And this one, if you like it or you have an interest in this, you can get it on his website, or his Facebook. You just can DM him through Facebook and he can email you or whatever. And I've read a lot of. All right, another deck I'm loving this month right now is the Lacrimosa by RoseBae. And I just think it's a curated art deck, also done extremely well with a black background and just done very beautifully. It's got a very delicate, beautiful border that is very fitting for these cards. And there was a lot of thought put into this, and you can see it. And it is kind of a darker deck, as you see. And it's got some probably Catholic undertones to it, or religious undertones. So... and then it's tied in with the tarot. It is very beautiful. And then you've got some roses and flowers. And there's a lot of symbology in RoseBae's decks. And this one too. And it's just very cool. And I'm sorry, I know very, very little about like the Christian or Catholic religion. Because I was not raised with any of that. And so... I didn't really know anything about that until I was much older in life, like within the last 10 years. So that whole thing is new to me. So excuse me if I don't know exactly what everything means there. but I can tell that it is tied in to some of that, even though I don't know exactly which system. And in this guidebook, it tells what everything is. So you get to find out where the painting came from and where the painting is. So it's really well done. I love the black. It's very cool. It's very powerful. I love the hearts. I love the flowers. It's just gorgeous. Really beautiful. A lot of black and red. And these are the beautiful backs. And this is the box. It's just beautiful. All right, another amazing deck that I am loving right now is the Emerald Papyrus. This was a Kickstarter I backed. And then, oh, I love this. There were some other cards, I think, from some of their other decks, which are not as much my style. So I don't have any of those. But I don't know what this is from, but it is stunning. Anyway, this deck, I don't know if you can tell because it's kind of overcast today, but it just glitters and it is so beautiful. I showed it before out in the sun. I don't remember if that was in my February or my March stuff I filmed. Anyway, I think this deck is just stunning. It's very Egyptian. The only thing, it does have a kind of a weird smell, and I've played with it a lot. It's still, the smell is fading, but it does have a smell. But this deck is just stunning. And I really love Egyptian mythology and references to all of the Egyptian information here. And I was so fascinated with the whole Egyptian culture when I was a child. My parents took me up to the exhibit of King Tut in Seattle when I was really little. We flew over and went to that, and it was just amazing. It was such an amazing, it blew my mind. I think it blew my parents' minds too. Even though they kind of did it for me. But it was very cool. And then, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, another version of it came to San Francisco. And I went to that exhibit. And it didn't have all of the stuff that the original one in Seattle had. But anyway, I think this deck is just stunning. It's a very feminine deck. So it doesn't really have, I don't think it has any guys in it. It has a lot of statues, it has a lot of women, and it's very, very feminine, kind of Eve, Lilith kind of based. It's just cool. Yet Egyptian, so Matt, Isis. But it's got that kind of energy of the dark goddess. All right, another deck that I'm crushing on right now is the Alchemical Tarot, the Wild Messengers Alchemical Tarot. And this is a cool deck. And I'm using it with the guidebook. It's got a kind of beefy guidebook that talks about each of the cards. And like it'll say the sea turtle, and then it'll have an invocation. It'll say sea turtle speaks. And then it'll have a breathing practice. When the air is clean, give thanks. So that's kind of the major arcana. This is the bison, which is power. So you'll have the invocation. You'll have bison speaks. And then it'll tell a little bit more about bison. And then energy speaks, exercise. So it's got a lot in it. And then at the back, it's got like information about the extra cards. And then it talks about, also it's like elemental. So fire is wands, south. The air is east. And the sword, I think, right? Air is swords, I think. Yeah, swords east. So like kind of an alchemical style circle. And then at the back, we'll have like the extra cards, like the Griffin, Keeper of the Light. Oh, here we have the Griffin right here. So, you know, we'll have Keeper of the Light there. And then it'll have a little bit about that card. Griffin Speaks. And then it has really cool spreads in it. And then it'll have like Alchemical, like talks about like calcination for fire, which is the first phase of alchemy, and how it kind of, you can either choose to go into this phase, or it can just kind of happen to you because you're pursuing a path. This phase is always turns you upside down. You might lose your job that you're in. You might end up with a physical ailment, but it totally, you go through the fire to kind of start this process and understand it. And you won't like it, but it initiates you into this alchemical process. And then these are the cards. And the guidebook is really amazing in this, I think. I mean, it just has a lot. And I think right now this is out of print, but she just did a Kickstarter for the Oracle, and she said the next thing is to reprint this deck. So I think it'll be another Kickstarter that she does. So I don't think it'll be too long, because she's been talking about redoing it for a while, but finally said, oh, I think I'm about ready to do a reprint of this. So I'm expecting a Kickstarter for this one. This has been out of print for, I think, a really long time, but I think it will be back in print soon. So I've been just loving this one and thinking it's just really cool. And it's kind of nice to have the white space and the color. It just, it's kind of fun, and it feels different than the other decks I'm using right now. So I am enjoying this. And I'm using this one completely with the guidebook, just because I think the guidebook is really great. And I used this a little bit before, but I didn't really deep dive into it. And so now I'm trying to spend my time doing that. I did take it on a trip one time and just brought this and then really like read the guidebook for everything. So that is the Wild Messengers Alchemical Tarot. Okay, another deck that I just am loving is the Heartwood. And I've used this off and on since I got it. But I love this is my favorite one of all of them. And I just did a reading with this one yesterday again. I love the imagery in this. I think it's just the sweetest deck. And I love this house. It feels a little bit like this liminal space house in between like the light and the dark, and just between a ghost house and an inhabited house. And it just really feels just unique. Out of all the decks, this one really just has a feeling to it that I really enjoy. And I love them all, don't get me wrong. I've always loved all these decks, but I'm especially loving this one right now. And I think it's just beautiful and such a fun deck. And I've just been so enchanted with this since I got it. And I love the mice. I love the bunnies, the weasels, the owls, the wolf, the pig, the stork. But the mice are my favorite. And I don't like mice in general usually. I love squirrels though. But in this deck, I love the mice. I love deer. I love baby deer, watching the deer. So this is just the sweetest thing, and it reads really great, and it's so fun, and I just love its liminal feel. I love it. So great. Oh, and these are getting a reprint, and I can't remember what the changes are. I haven't watched Simon's video yet. I'm going to watch that. I saw an email. I don't think the cardstock is changing. I think maybe the lettering. I can't remember. Anyway, I'll have to watch that. But this deck is getting a reprint. And I think that's happening very soon. So I don't know, maybe if you want the old one, you could get the old one, but it probably tells what the changes are going to be on the website. I think this one's still available. But who knows, you may want to wait and get the new one. So just very, very sweet. And I love the keyhole on the front. I love Adam Oler's art. I love Stephanie Burrow's creations. Just cool. All right, another deck that I am just loving right now is the Art of Life. This deck is cool because you can make it into a stand and put this, there's a little plastic thing so you can put this behind the plastic, and then you can put that up on your desk so that you have a little picture, and each of the cards tells about, like the Ace of Swords, I'm not afraid of storms, for I'm learning to sail my ship. So each of the cards has a little saying on it that talks about the meaning of the card. And I'll show you, like kind of spread out. I just think this deck is very cool. I think it's out of print though. I think I have a lot of out of print decks today. I should have done some mass market decks in here, and I'm not playing with any mass market decks, I don't think, right now at all. So this is where I'm at this moment in time. Usually I have some mass market decks out. For spring, I'm going to have some. But anyway, this is kind of just a cool deck, and it uses curated art, just kind of the romantic style, the art you have seen probably in museums. But it's a fun deck. Somebody could do this without too much work, I think. Well, I can't say that because the box design alone is a ton of work. But anyway, you could probably make something like this for yourself with curated art. But anyway, it's very cool, and I'm loving this right now and having a fun time with it. Hadn't played with this in a while. And just in case you want to look for it, that's the box. And how they did the box design was like that. It was very clever. This was a US Games production. All right, another tarot that I'm just crushing on and have been since I got it in January. This was a Kickstarter I backed. I was so excited for this deck. It is the Deleted World Tarot, and it was my deck of the month for January. And I still am enjoying this and crushing on it and just loving it. It has, like you'll have the Chariot on one side, and then you'll have the open sky on the other. And then you've got the astrological symbols here, and it's just a cool deck. And it uses more of a Thoth system than it does anything else, but it's its own thing. And it's great to read with. I love it. I just think it's unique and cool. And I've shown it a bunch, but it is a big crush right now. I knew I would love this one. And you know what? Sometimes you get a deck and it's even better. Your expectations might be high, but it's even better than what you thought it would be. And this one ended up being even better than what I thought. So pretty stoked to be playing with this. And I'm trying to put it away and not use it as much, but I'm just loving it so much. All right, another deck I'm crushing on is the Hong Kong Garden. This is by Snakes for Hair. I love the box. The box is super beautiful. And then it's got a decent guidebook. And then look at the insides of the box. It's just super pretty. The box is really beautiful. And I've been keeping it in this bag because I've been carrying it with me everywhere I go. Can't remember if I got this in January or February. I think mid-February. So I love this deck. There's something about it. It's got this like linen plasticky cardstock that is unique and just kind of really cool. I've never seen anything like it before. But there's something about this deck that I'm just really loving. I love the art. I love the feel of the cards. I love the symbology, although I just think this is a very unique deck. I hadn't seen anything like it or felt like it was like anything else I've ever used. So I'm really enjoying this one. And it's very pippy, which I enjoy pip decks, so it's kind of great. I love this tower. One of my favorite towers, I think. I just love it. So anyway, and it's interesting that it has the butterflies because everything's coming down, but then the butterflies are reborn. And I also have been doing work with the I Ching. And so I think part of it is, and I love this Judgment card. And I love this. My work that I'm doing right now, it just kind of, there's so many cards that I just think are just so cool. And I just think it's beautiful. And I really like the feel of the deck, and I like playing with it. And there's a lot I like about it. It's not perfect, but there's a lot I like. All right, next I'm going to show you the Tarot of Delphi. And I know this is horribly out of print, but this has been my January deck that I've used for years. It used to be my only deck that I used in January, and I wouldn't encourage somebody to buy it now. I love it because I'm bonded to it, and it was the first curated art deck I ever had, and it was so well done. And it was a Kickstarter, I think back in 2014, 15, something like that. I don't remember. And when it came out, it just kind of changed the game. And so it's a part of tarot history. And I love it. And I missed it this year. And I didn't use it in January. And then I just decided that I was going to start using it. And so I've been using it for a couple weeks. And I love this deck so much. It just makes me happy to use it. And I love its beige borders, and they're different sizes, and it's so not perfect. But the meanings of the cards, the meanings of the painting is so tied in to the meaning of the card. They did such a great job. There's 2 empresses in this deck, by the way. I fell in love with it. I was just so impressed. And I still, to this day, love using it. And I think part of it is nostalgia. This was the first time we ever saw the Pythia as the High Priestess. Now you see a million decks that have the Pythia as the High Priestess, but this was the originator of that. And we see Flaming June by the Ionian Sea as the sun. And I love this painting. And to use that as the sun was perfect. And it got us away from sun cards that I didn't love. And it just was so, it's such a beautiful painting. But each one of the cards has just such an amazing meaning behind it. And it's such a well thought out deck. It's just such a historical moment in tarot. And a deck that I've had for a really long time and I cherish. And I just love using it, and it's comforting to me when I use it. This is the first time we saw Fate as the wheel. Just like so cool, right? Anyway, I love this deck, and there's a lot of decks you could get instead of this now. So don't pay a lot of money for it because there's other decks that do this. This was just the first. All right, next deck is, you may laugh, it's the Beautiful Creatures Tarot. I am loving this right now. This is the first edition. I have the second, but I had worn the purple gilding pretty much off the second deck, the second edition. the second edition has a gorgeous purple gilding. So the first edition is different because it changes the names of some of the courts. And instead of like Princess, Prince, Queen, Knight, you have the astrological symbol and the element. So it's different that way. And then the Major Arcana also has some changes to the names. So it's just a different deck, but it works really well for my fairy tale readings. And then you have some weird cards in here sometimes, like that does not look like Jasmine's art, but it is. I love that card. Anyway, I'm using this for a specific purpose, but every time I use these decks, I have a lot of fun with them, and I just enjoy them, and I'm really having a good time with them right now, and I'm just kind of crushing on this one and using them with a bunch of the oracles, but I'm doing a specific thing with them, and so it's just really fun for me, and I'm having such a fun time using them, and I am loving that we have Crab of Water instead of Page of Water or Princess of Water, and like 16 is the Unseen. So it does change the suits up, but it follows the tarot pretty well. And 13 is Transformation instead of Death, which it's interesting because that is clearly death. That is all about death, no matter what you label it. So anyway, there's a lot of bones and skulls in this one. I love it. It's fun. I'm having fun with it. Right. Next deck I'm going to show you is a deck that's kind of an honorable mention because I'm having a love-hate relationship with this deck because I love the artwork on this deck. And I just started reading with it, but I'm having to use the guidebook every time I read with it. It is very confusing. It's in German. It doesn't follow the tarot structure that well. The court cards are their own suit, and the representation of some things follows the tarot, and other things you're left thinking, but it makes you ponder. And I love the artwork in this deck. So this is a love. I am loving it. And I'm doing readings with it. I studied it for a bit before I did. But I'm using the guidebook. I'm translating it. It is a ton of work for me. It's not the easiest deck that I've used. Some of the cards are sideways. Some are up and down. It was put out by the Flying Hearts Company, which is now kind of defunct. It was tied in with Osho. Some of Osho's teachings are somewhere in this deck, although I don't know what those are, so I don't exactly know what's up with that, but I am just doing small readings with like 3 cards and then translating them. And I'm just going to keep working with this deck. I love the world of the kitten. It's so adorable. But the art is so cool. There's another deck by the company called The Goose Is Out. And I think I had said earlier that it was RWS. I don't think it is. I think it's just its own thing too. So this is the Flying Hearts. It is a trippy deck, and I love it, and it's frustrating, but I love the art. All right, I'm just going to go through and tell you what all the decks are. This is the Flying Hearts Tarot. It is a German deck. It is in German, and the guidebook is in German. This is the Heartwood Tarot, Volume 5. It is by Stephanie Burrows and Adam Oler. This is Art of Life by Charlene Livingston. It is out of print, but I think you can still find it sometimes. This is the Lacrimosa by RoseBae. It is on Make Playing Cards. This is the Fireflower Tarot by Brandy Eve Allen. It is still in print. It is on her website. This is the Tarot of Delphi, long out of print. Probably never to come back. Hard to get. This is the Tarot of the Huntress by Kara Small. I think it's on her website. This is the Deleted World Tarot. It's by Joshua Urban Davis, and it is a very cool deck in stock on Joshua's website. This is the Emerald Papyrus by Aura. I think by Aura. This was a Kickstarter. I think it's going to be for sale, or it already is. It's by Yana Saint Levi. Yana has some other decks. This is the Eliphas Levi tarot deck. It is by Marco Benedetti, and you can find it on his Facebook. You can find him on Facebook and then message him. This is Beautiful Creatures Tarot by J.R. Rivera and artwork by Jasmine Beckett Griffith. The second edition is now in print, and you can find that probably at it's a mass market. Oh, it is a mass market, and it is still in print. All right, those are, how many did I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Did I have, oh, where's Hong Kong Garden? Okay, because this one I wasn't counting as because it was a honorable mention, and then Hong Kong Garden is my other one. Okay, so those are my decks. They don't all fit. Those are my decks. I'll scoot it over here. Those are my decks I'm crushing on.